All right, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be breaking down Thursday Night Football, Detroit Lions at Arrowhead Stadium. I'm going to be breaking down for you why the Detroit Lions can steal one from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes at Arrowhead and Kansas City. At the time filming this, Detroit is currently a 6.5 point dog to Kansas City. The over-under is at 54.5, which I actually really like a lot, which I'll explain here later on in the video. But I think you have two explosive offenses and two pretty mid defenses. But I mean, look, when we look at this matchup, the Chiefs are obviously the better team on paper. Chiefs have a better quarterback. Chiefs have a better offensive line. They have one of the best offensive line interiors probably in all of football, with Creed Humphreys, Joe Thuney, and who's the other guy? How can I forget? Trey Smith. However, I do think Detroit is a very sneaky team. They've been dubbed by some experts a sleeping giant. So when we look at Detroit, they have simply one of the best offense coordinators in the NFL in Ben Johnson. I wouldn't be surprised if Ben Johnson, if he has a good year this year, like he did last year, that a team's going to swoop him up. That's just usually what happens to these ace offensive coordinators. So I really think the Lions have the best offensive coordinator in the NFL. So up front for Detroit, I think they also have one of the best offensive lines in the whole NFL. PFF has their offensive line at 8 in the NFL. You have Frank Ragnow leading the way at center. He's a Pro Bowl center. A lot of talent on that line. They had a great pass block. They had a great run block. I don't see any real changes to that line, knock on wood, that each and every one of them stays healthy. So looking who will be behind that line, there is a glaring void that DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams left. The two combined for 1,600 yards last year. I think that definitely is something to be worried about if you're the Lions. However, I thoroughly believe that Jahmyr Gibbs out of Alabama is that guy. He can be that guy for the Lions. As you know, running backs can come in and they can make a difference just like that. It's not really a position that it takes development, like a receiver, a quarterback. You see it sparingly, but usually you don't see a quarterback come on and just kill it their rookie year. In some cases you do, but running back is a type of position where you can come in and make that difference right away. I really believe that Jahmyr Gibbs is that guy. So I think Jahmyr Gibbs can fill DeAndre Swift's shoes. However, you do have Jamal Williams, who's kind of the power back. He'd smash it in your face in the end zone. He'd run you over. The Lions did pick up David Montgomery, and I think David Montgomery can be that player. He's a very physical player, just running down your throat. Super physical, super aggressive. He's not going to burn you in open field, but if it's a one-on-one, he's going to run you over. So I think those two guys definitely fill the void. When we look at the receiver room, Amon-Ra St. Brown's arguably one of the best receivers in the NFL. He's definitely a top 10 receiver. I don't think, looking at the Chiefs secondary, I don't think there's a guy that can keep up with Amon-Ra St. Brown Thursday night. I don't think so. I think he's going to be in double coverage all night. That's the only way that there's going to be stopping him. He comes off a 1,200 yard receiving year last year. The dude, he's scary. To put it bluntly, he's scary. You got guys like Marvin Jones Jr. coming from Jacksonville, who's a great supporting cast. You have Khalif Raymond, also a great supporting cast guy. And also you have Sam Laporta from Iowa. He is a rookie, but he had a very solid career there. And that's definitely saying something coming from Iowa. Iowa's a great school that develops and produces tight ends year in and year out. So I do think that Sam Laporta was a great add for the Detroit Lions also. And then you look at the guy leading it all. You got Jared Goff. I believe Jared Goff, he's a competent QB who's hungry, kind of got shipped out of LA. I don't know if there's bad blood there, but I do think it left a bad taste in his mouth. He's kind of trying to make his mark, and he's using the Lions as his vessel right now, which, I mean, as he should, he's playing for them. I think he's not. I mean, no one's gonna confuse him as a superstar, but I think he's above average quarterback. He threw for 30 touchdowns and 11 interceptions last year. No one really talking about it. I mean, 11 interceptions obviously isn't great, but 30 touchdowns, that's a solid year in any NFL quarterback's history. So I do think Goff can make it work. So to touch on what I said earlier about the Chiefs and the Lions over under, why I love that so much. 54.5, I think that is way too low for the game we're gonna see. We have Lions who are proved last year to be just absolutely explosive last year offensively. And so Chiefs, obviously they're gonna be explosive. They're gonna put up points. But you look at the Chiefs defense, I don't think very many people understand that Chiefs gave up the most touchdowns last year in the NFL. Lions, they have no room to be talking that talk though. Defensively, we're actually gonna get into it right now. Defense was a mess for the Lions. You look at the rushing and pass defense was just absolutely horrid. However, I do think the Lions made some cogent fixes to their defensive voids that they had last year. So keep in mind, I'm not expecting the Lions to come out here and be all of a sudden one of the top defenses in the NFL. I mean, anything can happen. Last year, they were one of the worst defenses in not every category, but a lot of categories. They were one of the worst defenses in. So I do think they can make that dramatic shift from one of the worst to middle of the pack. Maybe even lower tier, maybe that 14th range. And really that's all you need to be a team to win in the NFL. So when we look at the Lions defense and why I think there is reason for optimism and hope, you have Aiden Hutchinson coming off an incredible rookie year, 9.5 sacks as a rookie. The dude, he's a Bosa type guy. I think he's even better. He's just, there's no way around it. He's a player. You also throw on the fire guys like Isaiah Buggs. John Kaminsky from Atlanta was a new addition too, I think, and he's gonna be very helpful on that defensive line for that pass rush. So in the backfield, I'm excited to see some of the changes they made. I guess the first one isn't too much of a change, but James Houston comes back after an 8-sack, 7-game year last season before he got hurt. Additionally, you have Jack Campbell, the rookie out of Iowa, at linebacker, making the start. So look, I know a lot of people like to dish out on Iowa, but I mean, look, the stats don't lie. He was the heart and soul of that Iowa defense, who was arguably the best defense in the nation last year. So I think Jack Campbell, yes, he's going to go through some growing pains, making that transition from college football to NFL, but I think he has a tremendous rookie season, and I think he helps a lot. Lastly, in the secondary, some major changes were made. One of the biggest changes was CJ Gardner-Johnson from Philly. Gardner-Johnson, he played 12 games but had 6 interceptions. Just in those 12 games, the dude can play, the dude can cover. The next guy I'm probably the most excited to see Thursday night is Brian Branch out of Alabama. He's a guy that can play corner, he can play safety. I think Brian Branch, just like Aiden Hutchinson, is an absolute player. I think he can lay the wood 100%, but he can also cover you like a glove. I think there's no reason why Brian Branch cannot win Defensive Rookie of the Year this season. I think he's that type of guy for the Lions. So Kirby Joseph returns after not necessarily the best pass coverage last year, but he did have 4 interceptions, so that's another reason to be optimistic for this secondary. One of my last reasons why I think Detroit can pull off this major upset, there's too many question marks for the Chiefs. The Chiefs have, at the time of recording this Tuesday afternoon, there's Travis Kelce injury rumors coming out. There's Chris Jones is still a giant question mark, and he is a huge piece to that Chiefs defense. The Chiefs don't have him for a large part of that season. They're in big trouble because he is the heart of that defense. And I think Detroit pulls out the stunning W. If you're not feeling as courageous as me, taking that Detroit money line. I understand. I do think though you will be safe with that line. I think 6.5 is plenty for Detroit to cover. They can't win. I think they will at least cover that 6.5. And maybe still, if you're like, no, I don't like that, over under, take the over. So hey, I really appreciate you guys watching. I will be reviewing primetime games coming up for week 1 this week, starting with the Lions at the Chiefs. So please subscribe for more. I will be breaking down more games and more videos to come. As always, we have college football content on the way too. Please stay with us at Hooked on Football. It's gonna be, I think arguably, this season could be the most exciting football season in some time in NFL college football. You don't want to miss it. Stay with us at Hooked on Football. We'll see you in the next one.